All right. Well, on this 5-minute fix, I'm Alex Garrett. How are you tonight? 5-minute fix at 6. Yeah, I know it's a little later, but in the 6 p.m. hour, here we are. And the news of the day that I thought were intriguing, well, the Daily News writers and even Forbes staffers walked out. That's right, walked out of their job today in protest of the budget cuts and what they're calling the chronic cuts of their respective, publications. And the Daily News has always been an interesting case to me because obviously in New York here, they have been consolidated to where their sports section is sometimes even imported from, the AP and whatnot. I mean, they've really had a bad thing. And, of course, the News, according to the New York Post, has been without a home since giving up its lower Manhattan quarters at the start of the pandemic. And the 104-year-old tabloid was scooped up by notorious vulture hedge fund Alden Global Capital, if you remember that, as part of a $633 million acquisition of Tribune Publishing. Well, today, chronic cuts by these hedge funds have shrunk the budget, and what the union members are saying are filling the pockets of the owners, not the workers. About 40 members of the Daily News Union walked a picket line in the rain today around the Midtown Manhattan office building where the News maintains a co-working space that can fit, get this, only 6 people. In the New York Post today, Shannon Taylor with that report. I just thought it was very interesting that the Daily News is finally having staffers react. I think our city is suffering because the 104-year-old publisher was sold by the Tribune. It's not been the same since. And Daily News reporter Michael Gartland telling the Post, Alden wants to act as if we're not being chiseled. We're not going to engage in that intellectual dishonesty. In reality, we're being crushed for cash. You know who did show up to this union walkout, by the way? Amazingly enough, Alec Baldwin. Now, here's a guy that was undergoing a lot of undergoing an indictment, I should say, and yet he shows up to support the Daily News. And I believe it was a Daily News photographer he punched out a few years, nearly a decade ago. So very interesting. He shows up to support the Daily News. And I will say, since being bought out, I have not read the Daily News as much. I do get their alerts, but it's not good. Also, this comes at a time when even the LA Times slashed over 100 jobs just this week. So the media world is something to talk about. Everybody today is talking about the 3-minute testimony of Trump. But here in New York, the Daily News walkout is worth the 5-minute fix at 6. Because 94% of the union was participating in this walkout, which is roughly 50 workers. The union announced its walkout, saying the hedge fund has made changes to overtime policies without bargaining and now refuse to pay unless the news policies are followed. This is a storied paper. It's become a little more leftist, right? We don't care about that part. We just care about whether or not it's getting the city. Well, I do care about that also, but it's more about whether this is getting the city the proper news, and clearly they're not doing the job as much as they should be because they're not paying the workers, the reporters, to do it. News breaks around the clock, they said. Hedge fund owners not only don't understand, but don't care. And I believe that to have a great lifeblood in New York is to have a vital newspaper system. Whether it be the Post or the News, you get two different perspectives. But when one perspective and if there is not an even distribution of news, say the Daily News, the Times, and the Post, that does not it does a disservice to New York. So I really hope the Daily News staffers get what they deserve. I hope the sports section comes back to the Daily News as well. And I just hope that this walkout shows the hedge fund that bought this paper, and God forbid is going to run into the ground if they don't watch it, changes it. Because I do think the Daily News and the news of New York go hand in hand and need each other, don't you? That's my 5-minute fix at 6 on the Alex Garrett Podcast Network.